Rapid call to order of the Park and Recreation Lighthouse and Facilities Committee meeting. Roll call: Allison McCullough here, Charlie Manning
here,
Andrew Sturgis
here,
Cheryl Foley here, Linda Johnson here. We can go ahead and open up public comments if there's anybody online. Hi, and then, oh yeah, no worries.
I didn't know if I was supposed to sign up somewhere.
Oh, no, if you wanted to begin by stating your name and address, please.
Mary K. Hall, 26 East 4 Mile Road. I don't know where we're at with the park and rec plan and everything, but this is a really cool swing that I found out about recently, that you can interact with your child instead of standing behind them and pushing them. For the park, I know they're a little expensive, but I thought it'd be really cool if we could work that into the budget. Too often I just see the parents sitting while the kids are playing and nobody can interact. So there's different versions of it. Some of them just have chains as opposed to the poles, but they're really cool. So
child
I think
facing mom,
yes.
Right.
or abducted.
We're a little giddy.
The other thing that I made an observation of at Jazz in the Park is the mulch levels around the playground.
We have that noted. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it'll take a header.
Yeah.
It's a big step out of the concrete.
It's the hard though.
I know.
That was it. It's all. Can you hold that up
Thank you. Yeah.
and ask Jeff if he has seen something like that before?
Oh, you have to hold it to that one.
Yeah, cool, yeah.
There's different versions online too.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff, can you see something like, or can you see that?
Sure. I can see that.
Seen something like that before?
Yes, there are a
Okay.
number of parks in Appleton. It's called I forgot what it's called. It has a clever name, but it is considered an ADA accessible swing for children who have either developmental issues or intellectual issues and need the proximity of a parent, but it's also just a lot of fun for a mom and a mom or a dad to do with their child. So
Right.
don't know the cost. I assume they're probably a little bit pricey, but they're also a wonderful addition to any outdoor recreation inventory.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you saw it, and you can put that in your our wish list, maybe. It's a possibility.
I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
That's probably everything that I would get a grant for.
Right. Right. But I don't want to forget about it. Do we have this, Mary?
Oh, you can keep
keep
that.
it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Then it won't get lost in the shuffle. All right. Then I am looking for an approval of the August 5th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve August 5th.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing none, that motion passes. Moving on to the action items. To review and possibly take action on the plans at the memorial at Wind Point Lighthouse to honor the 5 founding members of the society, the David Prince Hoy Audubon Society.
Quick update, I won't take long. Hoy is responsible for these 2 panels of the 3. They haven't completed those yet. I've completed mine, so I'm moving on. I've added a name, Imogen Powers Johnson, as a ornithologist and philanthropist. She's given much money to Columbia University's Ornithology Research Center. And so I'm going to propose with the help of the executive of Johnson's that we build someplace, maybe over there, a self-guided nature discovery center. You know, outdoors, not an indoor thing, so you can come anytime. There's one I'm familiar with, that Lizard Mound State Park has a self-discovery center where you go and learn the history of the mounds and all that. Just, it's out in the rain and everything. So, but I'm writing a letter to approach them for funding for something like that. I don't think it would fit here because of parking primarily, but if other space opens up, it might be a real good way to honor Imogene, rename it after her, obviously, and maybe that'll draw some funds. So I'm going in that direction right now. I'm waiting for Hoy to finish these two parts. Got the information on where to get the markers made. Thank you. And but we're not ready for it yet because we got to get this content. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Where did you get the information for Imogene?
It's online.
Okay.
And
I just want to make sure you're not missing Sam because he was a huge bird. I mean, he wrote books about birds. I just want to make sure you're not missing the other.
I'll check into that.
Just, as an FYI.
My uncle worked for Imogene as a nature photographer for Windspread. So there's a lot of connections in the club with Imogene that apparently we don't have with, but it's good to know that anybody knows anybody in the Johnson organization might be pro this, they're a bird of themselves or something, send my way or just let them know we're working on a project like this. I don't know where it's going to end up being, but it'd be a great thing for Racine. I think it'd be a big draw because this is known as a #1 site in southeast Wisconsin right now. If we had something like that in the vicinity, I think it'd be really great. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
When will you have the text ready?
3 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering when do you estimate ready to, I guess, to get it?
Produce the marker.
Yeah.
I was serious. 3 months ago, I was expecting the content from Hoy. So I've got to start driving them. They don't have the level of drive that I do apparently. So
when you get that, I guess let us know and we'll put you back on the agenda. And then once that's ready,
right.
And then if you get a proof from the company, then I think that's when the committee would see that next one. So
the other thing, and I'll ask you first to get put on the agenda, would be if we had some developments with the Johnson family that they say, yeah, we're interested. Where can we place it? Is it going to go at one point?
So this is a placement for the self-guided. So it'd be a separate signage for that?
No, it's a whole.
What exactly does it entail?
It's a shelter, open air shelter, and it has all displays. The one that Blizzard Mounds in a circle, and you follow the circle, and it takes the history of the mounds all the way around, teaches it about all the plants and trees and everything. And it's just self-guided center.
So each station there's a shelter or just one shelter?
One shelter, yep.
And it has within that shelter 15-minute miniature displays?
Yeah, something like that. And now we got QR codes so we can link it to the world of technology. So it could be as expansive as anybody wants to make it.
Yeah, and then it would run off your telephone as you went through the.
Yes, yeah, you do the stations QR code as you go around. Yeah. So
they go into the shelter and they have the options to start the tour.
yeah, there's a start point.
How extensive how big would the tour be? How extensive is this?
It's up to everybody that's volunteering to promote it. The Hoy Club, myself, I guess, would be part of the contributors. Maybe the National Audubon Society. I don't know. Maybe the state of Wisconsin will probably want to put something up. I don't know. It's a concept right now. First thing is get some funding. Get some funding.
Oh, money.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's no money, then there's no point in going further. So.
They don't come here for that.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm added that name to the honorees.
Okay, and what university did you say Imogene donated
I
to?
believe it's Columbia.
Okay, it's Cornell.
Cornell. Okay.
I'm going. I didn't think I was right because Cornell is the big one with the ornithology and everything. So I just did a quick Google. I said SC Johnson Family Birders. You might want to do the same.
Okay. I'll do
Because
that.
there's a lot of information there on their contributions to not only birding but conservation and so that would probably be a good thing to do before you approach them. Anyways.
Yeah, I've got a coach.
Yeah.
As a favor, please don't have this produced until we have a look-see complete.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because we want to match certain styles and fonts to what's already here.
So when I get this finalized and ready to present to you, I'll come back. I won't bother you until then, unless there's something dramatic happening with the Johnson site. I'll just let you know what's happening.
And what are your thoughts for its location of placement?
Well, we're gonna put 5 similar sites to here with the marker and the QR code.
No, for this one, on this
We
property.
might go at any one of this one, any of the other 4. It could be a standalone site. I don't have a site yet.
No. For this sign, this is proposed sign.
Yeah.
Where would you like it placed?
Out in front of the benches. That's where we proposed, and I think everybody agreed.
I'm not so sure. I think we want it offset a little bit. Not to,
I have to go back.
not to bust a beer.
Yeah, I have to go back.
'Cause I know it was
Just down
facing
the-
this way. You wanted it to be
Right.
facing the lake, so you were facing this
Yeah.
direction or
So you
that.
can see it,
Right.
and then in front of the benches there, wherever you want, it's up to you. Whatever you want, will happen.
Well, let's give it May first.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta get the content done. So thank you for your
Okay,
time.
thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have David Heller in our packets. There's the 2025-26 updated landscape plan for the Wind Point Lighthouse grounds.
Am I up yet, or does Travis need to speak first?
No, you're good to go.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I see a couple familiar faces, and Charlie, good to see you again, even though it's remotely, and Cheryl, good to see you again. It's been a while. My name is David Heller. I was a former resident of the village. I did prepare, I live in the Lake Geneva area currently. Travis and I had a quick meeting probably 3 weeks ago and just kind of walked around, and he basically said you guys were interested in updating the master plan. Which I sort of kind of guided the first part of. My goal today is to kind of hone in on, we talked about a lot of wide-ranging things, and I have a proposal into Travis, and I guess Travis in committee, is it best to discuss the priorities again today, or have one more follow-up meeting with those vested people that are most interested in the lighthouse, so I understand what the expectations are from I just heard previous gentlemen speak about potentially another memorial or a monument kind of idea that could wind up here, and I just didn't know kind of where the next best step was. I feel like I put a proposal together kind of covering my bases, but I wasn't sure as to do I have the right number of bases. So that's my 2 cents for today. On me, I'm just an independent landscape architect, been doing this since about 2001. So I've kind of been around the block a few times with landscape plans, but just wanted to kind of reintroduce myself and just kind of open the floor for any questions or any guidance from you all before, I guess, the next step's taken.
So we're looking at hiring you. Is that what this is about? Okay.
Go ahead, Travis.
Just want to clarify. And take this plan from when was this, 2018?
Yes.
I mean, I have a date on the plan that I can, if you need to see it, I can bring it up, but I have a plan that was issued for bid in 2021. So that was when the path was put in, some of the trees out front were put in, the circle path around the parking area or the reserve parking area for the lighthouse tours. That's what I prepared, like I said, starting in 18, kind of finishing in 21. So it was an ongoing project for 2.5 years or so.
So am I correct in understanding that you met with Travis and kind of walked around the grounds?
We did. And we talked a lot about a lot of things, and I don't know what's on and off the record, but I know there was some interest in an offsite development that might need some parking. And I mean, there's just a lot of things that were in the hopper that I wasn't sure exactly what needed to be in the plan or what was desired to be there.
So, I mean, there were some things that were in the plan in 2018 that weren't carried out.
Correct.
Looking
Correct.
at that,
There was some lake stuff work, and I know there was some, I just heard the church, or there were people talking about the memorial garden. I think that's due for a refresh just from a settling issue. There's some odd pavements down by the what's it called, the Fog House Museum, was the museum. Just there's a lot of stuff that I viewed as needing to be done, but I also don't realize, I realize that the priority of the village is first and foremost of what you're looking for.
So these things that need to be done, is this, in your opinion, a refresh, or are the things that were done 7 years ago that you think should have been done then and weren't done, and still find value in doing those?
I think it's a combination of both, if I had to guess. There was some talk of, like I said, this parking lot that was potentially talked about that would require some kind of rejiggering of some things. The offsite use would require some coordination, and then just the area between the lighthouse itself and the lakefront. We lost that big tree. Obviously, the spruce is no longer. There are some pavement issues that are kind of random, that kind of scatter all over. Like, are those better integrated? Should they be removed? And again, some of these were addressed in the original master plan. So I guess that isn't a total refresh, but I'd like to have a little bit more guidance on the what I'm calling the memorial garden, or the brick paver garden out front. There was some talk of just doing curbs, whether the pavement may need to be resettled. So there's reset, and there's an opportunity to reconfigure some things if that's indeed the case. But more or less, I just, and in this business, I sell my time, and I look to see, do I have enough time to accomplish what I think needs to be done? And like I said, I aimed a little on the high side this time, so I wasn't 100% sure. So I kind of just did my educated guess on how many meetings, how many revisions, what areas I have to go back and look at, what areas do I have to remeasure from here's what we have, here's what comes out, here's what, that kind of thing. So.
I have one other question for you.
Sure.
In the 2018 phase one, when it talked about the path.
Yes.
There's it says unpaved overflow parking area.
Yes.
And I'm seeing lines on there.
Yes.
Was that an actual parking lot that was proposed?
So that's a cheat. It's a great question. That is more of a cheat for me, when that's the area I assume it's still used for tower climbs parking. I just wanted to make sure when I was laying this out that I had a reasonable enough spaces to accommodate parking in general. I wasn't really laying out a parking lot, but I was kind of saying, okay, this would hold 40 or 50 cars. So no new trees, as you can see, are in that area, because I didn't want to put a bunch of and have it mowed over by parking or long-term. So that was just for me to say, okay, this is generally enough space for what they want to do.
Okay.
On page, gosh, what page is this? 17? Is that the page that you were looking at, Linda? Is this the most recent iteration of this, and reflective of what's actually out there, not including the?
No, that's the old one.
Okay, so what page is the most recent?
Black and white.
Oh, page 10.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I'm finding the right one. Page 10. Okay.
Charlie, did you have any questions for Dave?
No, not really. Other than I believe the most recent iteration does not show the path coming from Lighthouse Drive adjacent to the driveway into this building. And so that's my only thought. But what's up on the screen now appears to be some iteration of that.
Allison, did you have something else? I'm just gonna make a recommendation.
I have one other question.
No, I didn't.
Where that circle is, that's where the actual circle is right now.
The circle gardens.
Yeah.
The node.
Yes.
Say again.
The node.
The node.
Yeah, they call it the node.
Oh, yes. And
Yeah,
that's its actual position. Yeah. Today. Okay, very good.
Charlie, I think it's pretty close to where it is. I would have to field measure and see, but I think it looked like it's about where it was drawn to be.
Yeah. Okay.
And this isn't necessarily reflective of all the trees that we've lost.
It is also probably correct.
Okay, just checking.
And that would be, I mean, that would be one of the things that would be part of the update. I would think you would go through and say, okay, we lost all these trees, because you'll notice the path along the drive coming in Village Hall Drive serpentines a bunch of those trees. And if we've lost 2 or 3, we can straighten it out. Again, I don't know exactly what trees are lost, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I've offered to Travis too, to walk this with interested parties to make sure I completely understand what the goal is.
I personally think we need to defer this until we know what's happening over here.
Yeah, well,
Well,
the thing is, that's what I've got going in my head is what's happening with this proposed development next door and how it's gonna affect us.
Very fair comment as well. I brought that up to Travis, and like that's because, just FYI, that would be something that would involve engineering and drainage beyond my capability, because I'm not a civil engineer. The minute we start putting curbs and gutters and asphalt pavements and that kind of thing, it's a more complex project.
Oh,
But I still think it's something, I still think your plan is, or update is something that we want to look at. I think it's too early to look at this until.
Totally fair. And I just what it
That's
is.
just that's one opinion.
No, but you're not far. You're that's not a bad comment at all.
Okay.
But the one thing too, though, that we do know is there's a possibility of impinging on part of the property, but it's not going to affect anything in the lighthouse.
Yeah, the campus property.
Correct.
So there's,
Yeah, I mean, we could hire him to do, from this building this way.
right.
But I think we also have some expenses possibly coming up with Memorial Garden and painting and,
Yeah.
And should the Memorial Garden.
Right, we don't even know,
Until
right,
we talk
right.
with
I just think,
David also.
yeah, I just think we should wait until we figured out some other aspects of.
You won't get an argument from me.
I think one of the things that we can do rather quickly is to reestablish a tree line along this north border here, where we lost all those diseased and then later removed pine trees along that line. It looks a little bare in there, and I think we can do some better things. You know which area I'm talking about, Dave?
You talking about north of the drive, Charlie, or are you talking south of the drive?
I'm talking on the campus proper.
Yep.
Essentially between the shoreline and
North lot line.
the north lot line.
So those 4 or 5, those 3 or 4 residences as you drive down the drive. Is that what we're talking about?
Not
Farther behind the Foghorn building.
Oh, so further east. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm showing some removes an existing spruce, and I'm showing a battering of arborvitae or upright juniper or something that replaced a lot of those.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Okay, so that would be something. Again, I'm not gonna. If you need some quote unquote free advice on what to put there, that's a different. That's something that I don't need to put a pretty comprehensive plan to kind of give you some pointers on that one.
Well, we certainly invite the pointers.
Okay.
I'm familiar with your work. Your pointers is better than my best lifetime guess. So.
Okay. But while you're thinking about the bigger picture, Charlie, I'll swing by either this Thursday or next Thursday and just take a quick look-see at that area and just report back to Travis, like, here's what I see, and just see what you think. That's an aside from everything else. That's an easy ask him in Racine.
Indeed. Scott, you got any other eyesores around here that you'd like
From
ready to plan?
Lighthouse Drive to the lake, from the north property line to the tree line. There's a lot of this entire thing. It's just all needs a lot of renovation or work or addressing or something has to be done. So, but yeah, depending on how we want to do, but we lost a lot of trees. Whether you want to, we went through this before, whether you want to replace them or not, all that kind of stuff. So I think something just needs to be talked about and discussed in what direction you want to go. Kind of like what Mr. Heller's saying, same kind of concept. Kind of come up with a plan that everybody agrees on and start whittling away at it.
All right, anything else for David?
No, not right now, at least not for me right now. I agree that maybe you should defer this till we have.
Other
things in
sense.
place.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I appreciate your
Thank you so
time.
much.
I'll follow up.
Bye, David.
Sure, good to see you guys. Thank you for your time.
We need to do a motion.
Okay, jump off or no?
Yes, you can jump off. So, yeah, looking for that motion. Go ahead.
Okay, I move that we defer the. Let me get back to my.
Oh, actually, no, you don't have to do one. Sorry.
No?
No, he
Okay.
was just, yeah. Nope, you're good.
Okay. Review and possibly take action on the deposit return to keepers if the hall's not cleaned. Andrew, you got something to say about this?
I do. I know we had discussed something like this last year when we first moved in here for security deposits on hall and lawn rentals. If we were not to return a security deposit due to damage or due to needing to clean up, if we as the keepers would be able to have the entirety of the security deposit back. Because there have been previously, since we've moved in here, I mean, there's a huge stain down over here. There was times where people had left a bunch of like non-biodegradable flower petals all over the lawn. They had left, or they had set up on the north lawn when they were supposed to set up on the south lawn and broke the contract. And that involves a lot of cleaning, involves a lot of time for us to do. And we really don't make a lot of money doing this anyway, but it does take time out of our day. And we don't get time to clean it until usually after 9 o'clock or the next morning that we have to clean it just in case we have another rental the next day. So we were seeing if we would be able to have the entirety of the deposit returned to us to buy cleaning equipment, to buy whatever we needed to do to buy. That way it wasn't something that we had to wait for like our 20% back to buy carpet shampoo or buy whatever we needed.
Well, the purpose of a deposit is to ensure that they would clean it, and if not, it would cover the cost of cleaning it.
Exactly.
So if
And that was my,
that would be
we're the ones cleaning.
cleaning supplies, labor, whatever, you know,
What is the deposit for the building?
For the big lawn rentals is $250, and then for like hall rentals, I think it's only like 50. It's
150, yeah.
Because I think we raised it last year. Yeah. I think it's 150.
I mean, because it does take time, you gotta shampoo the carpet.
And I mean, and to be truthfully honest, like last time we shampooed the carpets, we don't have a carpet shampooer for the hall, so we used our own equipment and all that last time. But then that would help us in fact, like then we could hire Stanley Steamer, or whoever to come down here, actually like, properly clean stuff, which would be fine.
Well, it'd be much more than 150.
Yeah, it would be much more. That would be where the 250 would come in hand. But
Right, because like I said,
How,
Eric recommended doing like the 80-20 rule, like we do with,
that we do with everything else?
yeah.
I was just gonna say that, so. And then I was wanting to ask how often, how many, yeah,
rarely do we, I mean, majority of the time we return security deposits. I think last year we had maybe 1 or 2 that we didn't return, and then this year I think one person, I think it was only one because of the stain that's down the curb over here that we didn't return so far this year.
I'm not so sure 80-20 is appropriate because it's 100 for him to clean it up.
well.
but he's already cleaning it up.
Right, here's my question. It's like, okay, I come and I rent this for my bridal shower. And I'm supposed to clean it up when I'm done. And I do, but you're not gonna turn around and rent it again the next day without at least coming in and
Yeah.
making sure
We
and
check it.
checking it,
100%.
probably running a vacuum again.
Yeah.
And doing a certain amount of labor
Yeah.
anyways,
Mhm.
just to make sure, because the next person who's coming in expects it to have been cleaned, not necessarily by the last person.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be some labor that's expected of you
Mhm.
after a rental. But if I leave it in a disastrous mess,
Mhm.
now all of a sudden your labor just got more intense. You're gonna spend more time. You might have to get the carpet shampooer out. And if we don't own one, we probably should. Because there's some good ones out there. So it would be more, and I don't know what the 80-20 is, but
80 would go to them, 20 to the village for
Oh,
like
okay.
equipment and supplies to keep.
Because I mean, there's a certain amount of labor expected
Yeah.
afterwards. But if it's, like I said, a disaster and they've not done anything,
Yeah.
they're probably just going, well, that's what I left the deposit for.
And like, I feel like there was an instance last year where something like that happened, where we came in the middle of the night after 9 o'clock, and it was an absolute disaster in here. There was stuff left everywhere, all the empty bags from all the clothing and boxes of all this, like, it was awful.
Right. they
And that
just-
was one that we didn't return security deposit for because we had to spend hours cleaning it, but it stinks because then if we have a rental the next morning, okay, we're down here for 2 hours, okay, so that's night, so we don't go to bed until after 11. And then we gotta get ready for the next rental the next morning and everything.
Right,
So,
no,
and
I
I feel
understand.
like I'm pretty lenient about like vacuuming. It is in the contract that you are supposed to vacuum and clean up afterwards, and a lot of times people don't, but like, yeah, we go through and we'll vacuum it up after a rental, we'll just check everything, clean the bathroom, all that kind of stuff, that way it's set up for the next time. We just feel like with some of the rentals and some of the bigger events, like the outside stuff or even the inside stuff here, it would just be a little nicer for us to be able to.
Well,
Plus the
I don't disagree
not get
because if we had it in the contract that if they leave it in a disaster and we hire an outside firm to come in and clean it, we're gonna pay somebody. I mean, because if the expectation isn't there to do anything more than the general run a vacuum and just make sure, we're gonna pay a cleaning crew to come in and do it. And
Do we have 80/20, do we have anything in the new contract right now about this? Or
No,
in the past?
I've been talking to Eric because he's working on the other amendment, and then he's updating the contract to reflect the new your marriage now to include one last name. And then I ran this by him and suggested the 80/20. So
Marriage. Congratulations.
So, I mean, we got married almost 2 years ago.
yeah, they're finally-
Sam's
they're finally getting
Sam's finally getting around with changing
official.
that.
Now that there's a band with us.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
Well,
All right.
I was gonna tell you it's not too late to back out.
All right.
Little something.
And I'll be the adult in the room. You know, we've had, and nothing against you and your time, I appreciate it, but we have had, you know, keepers for the last how many years, unless, that have been cleaning up. Unless things are becoming worse.
I'm
Yeah.
curious how many deposits we haven't returned prior, you know.
Yeah, prior.
Right.
Well, because I feel like last year when we didn't return a deposit, it sounded like that was the first time we had never
Yeah.
returned a deposit before, and we were really surprised about that.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, so I personally do believe people
But
are,
was it because the keepers cleaned it?
Mhm.
You're just, you know.
and then complain about it. I
And
don't
don't
know.
complain about, I mean, that's, you know.
I don't know. I never heard of them.
I'm, like I said, I'm playing nothing against.
No, no,
You guys, but I'm
but
playing the
I
devil's
don't
advocate
disagree.
saying, okay, why do we have to do this? Because we've never done it in the past and everything's been fine.
I mean, that's.
I don't believe that they had returned, but you can always go text Monica, she would know. If they'd ever not returned a deposit. And it may have been that it wasn't what they deemed bad enough,
Yeah, they, I
Yeah.
mean. it-
Right.
but everybody's
Yeah.
level of what they consider clean is different. And some
Right.
people, you know, depends on how detailed that contract is. I have no idea. I've never read it. But if you only have to do this, and this, and that's all they do, but you still end up having to clean up anyways, you're gonna return the deposit because they did A, B, C, and D. But if you're leaving glitter in the lawn and, you know, trash in the building and stains on the carpet,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, some people
Well,
are
yeah.
not, some people just take care of it and don't say a word.
Right, I guess it, you know, goes back to then, you know, did we hold security deposits in the past and did the village always just keep it? Or is this a new phenomenon that people aren't cleaning up after themselves and it's too much for our keepers? So we have to give them either, and the proposal is to give them all of the security deposit, or 80% or 20%, or that's part of the job. Those are the three choices we have.
I just texted Mary Ann user. She know that exactly. On deposit returns.
Cause I mean, if you wanted to keep the 250 as a cleaning security deposit, then if it's a disaster, then are we just gonna hire a cleanup crew and all that thing? So what happens if we have a rental the next day?
Right. Wow.
We have to call Mary Maids, come down here, emergency, and pay them $700 in the hall.
No, no, I mean, at Wind Metals, we have somebody that comes in after every party.
Yeah.
You know,
We do too,
Yeah.
except should that be part of, cleaning up somebody else's mess? Should that be within the scope of what he does? Very simple, but when there's non-biodegradable stuff out over the lawn or stain in the carpet, that's beyond the normal expectation, or running a Hoover around the room. So.
I mean, we're talking about over and above the normal.
Right.
After a party.
Yeah.
right.
I'm fine if we got a vacuum, like I'm fine if like the counters need to get cleaned up or the bathroom needs to get cleaned up a little bit. That's totally fine. It's
Well,
expected.
personally, I would not expect the people to clean the bathroom.
Exactly.
I think
But
that's gonna
that's-
I know
be,
he's saying,
But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
expected of us. I
Right.
totally agree with that. That's totally fine. But when it comes down to what isn't expected of us,
right,
that's when it's.
right, and I don't disagree with that. So if somebody
Well-
comes in and leaves it a big disaster, we have choice. We can contract with a cleaning service to come. We do have a contract with a cleaning service that comes and does the offices.
Mhm.
We can just automatically contract with them to come and clean up after every party, but that's gonna add up too.
why would we do that?
I don't know. Because you can't, because
You're just going down a rabbit hole.
well, the reason
No, that's-
I'm doing this is because, just like you say, if you call them on the fly, it's gonna cost you 3 times as much. So,
Call them Saturday at 10 o'clock at night.
it's like, we need this cleaned up, we have to do that tomorrow. Well, sure, I can get somebody out, but we're gonna pay for it. Well, to me, a better solution is we have people on site who are willing to do it. We're gonna pay them, but, whether, and we just have to determine what we're gonna pay them.
And I mean, and truthfully honest, I mean, we take before and after pictures. So if you guys ever, like, if it's concerned, like, we're just gonna take the money because we want it, no, we're gonna.
No, I'm
we'll
not
give
saying
you-
that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
But,
that.
well,
Please, yeah.
no,
I mean, I just don't want.
get it. No, I can
I don't want
understand
you-
it. No, I can totally understand it, but it's just one of those, we do take our before and after photos, because if it does come down to like, hey, we cleaned up, and we do have the proof of like, actually, no, you guys didn't. You left, you left this here, this here, this here, you left these stains here, here, here. And personally, like, I think we've had maybe one person that was a little upset about the fact that they had like stopped a bunch of blueberries and raspberries and stains in the carpet over here that we had to clean up. But other than that, everyone's like, you send them a picture, of it, and like, no, we totally understand, we're so sorry about it. That's totally fine. I've only ever had one person be a little bit upset about not returning their security deposit. But that being said, we've only not returned like 3.
And then any idea like how many hours?
I would say, I
On
mean,
average, you,
probably 2. I would say we could average probably 2, depending on what we're doing. I'd say it's probably between 1 or 2 hours to clean everything up.
so.
If it's normal.
If it's normal, I mean, if it's normal, it's probably about an hour, half hour to an hour to clean up, because it's just a vacuum, really, and just to wipe down. But if it's abnormal, it's usually 1 to 2.
Okay, on just a regular, you're saying,
On a regular normal, we have a rental on Fridays or next Friday, I think. Maybe that's right. But on our normal rental, like, we clean up beforehand, obviously. So move all the chairs, put all the tables away, vacuum, clean the bathroom, clean everything, do that kind of stuff. That takes probably about half hour to an hour to do. And then at the end of the rental, we come through, and if it still needs to get vacuumed, again, half hour to an hour. So you're looking at either an hour to 2 hours to do it on a normal time.
okay, and then if it's,
Then if it's in a disarray, and it's that half hour to an hour to clean beforehand, and then you're looking at at least 1 to 2 hours afterwards to clean.
So about $75 an hour, if you're doing this, and $100 an hour if you have to do something
Yeah.
outside.
I mean, the idea with if you guys wanted to hire an outside, you guys have enough money to cover for an outside. I mean, all we're asking is to hire an outside for $250. I mean, we're already here, we're doing it. Like, and
I can
this
tell you
is-
what I pay my cleaning lady, it's not $75 an hour.
Yeah.
But it's not commercial space in there, so.
And it's not at 10 o'clock at night.
Right. It's not.
At 10 o'clock at night. Because you have a rental until 9 PM, so. That's why we can't set up, that's why we can't do certain things, like if, for example, that's why we don't have events on a Sunday. Or that weekend prior to a tower climb, because if they have stains, they have all this other stuff that needs to be cleaned up.
Right.
We're up until midnight cleaning everything up, shampooing and trying to do stuff and then setting up for a tower climb the next morning. So. It just sucks, especially during the summer weeks when we have an event on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday some days.
Well, I guess because, I'm looking at, you still gotta do the pre-cleaning and, you're gonna, do a little after cleaning. It's that excessive amount depending on what has happened.
Yeah.
You may not have to
No.
clean the carpet. You may just have a lot of garbage to pick up.
Yeah, but he's talking about when he's keeping a security deposit because of excess issues.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, because I
Okay.
mean, part of why you kept the security deposit on the last one was, or one of them was all the stuff they left here.
Yeah.
I don't know, was there any stains in the carpet?
There was no stains in the carpet.
Yeah,
I mean, I
no
got
stains in the
pictures.
carpet, but there was a lot of stuff they left here. And then the little petals in the grounds. So I guess, you're right, $75 to $100 an hour is, to me, it is excessive. So I guess a part of it would be depending on what has to be done. And, normally we don't return partial deposits.
Right.
It's an all or nothing thing.
Right. I mean, we don't have to make a decision on this right now, if you're still wanting to get information from Monica and Mary Ann.
I don't want to be unreasonable. I don't want to be unfair.
Right.
I think your time is worth something when you have to do this. Maybe we ought to check into, gee, what would we have to pay
Right.
if we had to call somebody to come here at 10 o'clock at night and clean up, vacuum, do the carpet cleaning, whatever, if necessary, and just to weigh that.
I think $75 an hour is excessive until you get it on the weekend, after hours, and then,
Yeah, well, you may be right about that. Especially
You're on a
if you
different
have to
pace.
call them at 9 o'clock at night, that's where I totally
Well,
get
maybe
that.
we also look at how we're scheduling things, maybe you don't schedule something first thing in the morning, so you have the morning. I don't know.
let's not constrain the income, That would be a constraint on the income. Just because I rent on Saturday, doesn't mean that we don't want somebody to rent on a Sunday, so.
No, I'm not saying, Are we ready to make a decision? Or do
Well,
we have a
I mean,
motion?
we can also base it on time spent or what had to be done,
Let's see.
That's gonna get cumbersome,
Well, I mean,
really cumbersome.
Yeah, it's
gonna be
more
really-
bookkeeping. I'd like to make a motion.
you could do 50-50 or 80-20. You want to,
80-20. And if the 80-20 is already a thing that's already in.
I don't know. I don't know what is.
Well, right now for this, there isn't a precedent or practice.
You keep the 80 on an 80-20.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Sounds okay to me.
Well, part of the reason I brought up 50-50 is this is what we're talking based on what's happening. If you're having to shampoo carpets and whatnot, I'm all for 80-20 because I know there's more time involved. But if you're not, then 50-50.
Don't you think though, it kind of evens out? So if, they left some stuff and you're picking it up and keeping their deposit and you worked for 40 minutes and you're getting $150 versus, or sorry, yeah. 150
I mean, I
eighty
don't know what the
percent
charge is.
versus you might have to some other time, spend more time. I think, you know,
Of course, we're also talking that, you're talking, it's the hall versus out there.
no, it's any deposit.
Any deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you know what? Because what's the deposit on the hall?
150. I think.
So what are we talking? $120 for,
And only when it's,
I mean, it's not like the village is losing any money here. Because
No, it's
if
already
we're
paid.
refunding the deposit, we're not seeing a dime anyways.
That's the thing, is you're not losing any money. Cause, yeah, the deposit gets returned after,
It's not like we,
But the deposit doesn't get returned if there's a problem.
no, but if there's. a
So we
problem-
would be losing that money.
But it's not money we would have already had, like, it's money
We're
that's
still
expected,
losing- we're
it's
still
money
losing
that's
money.
expected to be returned,
All right.
yeah.
I'd make a motion on withheld deposits. I make a motion that it be an 80-20 split similar to the other contractual items.
I second it.
I'd go for 50-50. So call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye.
Abstain.
You're down in flames, man.
I don't mind.
Yeah, it's okay. Democracy.
Got all that, Travis? That was a long one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Eric will amend it and then it'll go to the full village board.
Okay. Okay. Then number 4, we'll, and number 5, please keep in mind we have quick underline. Let's have a little bit of time on that. Okay. Night housekeepers, quick update.
We really don't have a whole lot to update. One thing that we were talking, Sam and I discussed, especially with the pregnancy and everything kind of going on. I think we're gonna try to minimize the rest of the events that we have for the rest of the year. So the stuff that's already on the calendar and booked, like the sunrise and sunset tours, we'll probably still keep doing. But due to the lack of interest in a lot of them lately, and the fact that, I mean, I've had sunrise tours with one person. So I think we're gonna try to slow them down a little bit. I don't think we're really gonna plan for anything else for the rest of the year and just kind of let us stay home with this new baby that's coming, so.
You guys didn't do anything with the, do you track the geomagnetic and everything for the,
Really nice.
yeah,
I didn't, I just noticed that there was stuff yesterday.
yeah. Well, they probably begin tonight, but, yeah, those are totally a last minute kind of thing. They might know within a week. That would be probably a draw.
Yeah, but I think for now, we're gonna try to slow stuff down.
Okay, just make sure to put the, roof lighting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the wreath light, because that's community club. So that stuff will be fine. The Christmas lights up on the tower, the tower lights, that kind of stuff will probably, should still be okay, because it's what community club does. But stuff that we host, like, I don't think we're gonna be planning art fair, another car show, or any of the other sunrise sunset vibes or anything like that. I think we're just gonna slow down for now. That's all I really got.
When's we can do October 2nd?
27.
27th. Oh, in the month.
Or October.
Oh, one or the other.
10-day grace
All
period.
right, Scott.
Well, I'll keep it really quick too. Did anybody go to the Jasmine Park?
Yep.
Did they go past 8 o'clock with their
Yep.
presentation? Did the
They started
pavilion
late.
lights come on?
Yes.
Okay, then I got nothing.
And I'll tell you
There
that,
was an issue with the timer and I thought I tried to fix it last week, so I just needed to
and I
know
was
if it
there
worked.
last night and it came on as well.
So that's the other thing is that when I set the timer for an event, unless I remember, there is no designated day, so it's either on or off every day of the week at that time. So I just gotta remember to shut it off. Plus, did they complain about the western outlets by the parking lot? Apparently they wanted to set some stuff up there to sell and they
Oh.
weren't able to last time. Did they set up there?
They did not on the west, they set up on the east side.
Okay, maybe it's because of the outlets and I'll check it out.
Yeah.
They
it
have
all
to have an
worked.
electrician.
It all worked, I think.
Okay.
They go there.
All right, that's it.
All right, and I got, my friend got rid of a dead bird. For you. Last night there was a dead bird in the middle of the pavilion. Sparrow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I
No,
know.
no great.
Better than being a
Yeah.
dead deer, got a few of those.
Yeah.
All right, discussion on the task force for the Lighthouse Master Plan. Everybody should have a one-page document in front of them. This was.
Would that be in the package?
Yeah, on page 20. Yep. So this was the identification of the maintenance activities and future needs of our current open space areas. And then the task force made recommendations based on a high impact, a moderate impact, low, and minimal or unnecessary recommendation to this committee. And I guess the best way to do this, there are photos, I think, are photos attached?
Yes.
Sorry. Oh yeah, there's questions. Okay. So I think like there's quite a few ones on here, which are high importance. And there's two IP items on there. There's one that says done that wasn't done. Okay. So moving the garbage can to the west end of the garden instead of sitting smack dab in the middle. Small,
The best.
simple thing, but that, yeah,
Big ones over there.
small and simple right there.
What's that?
You want it
It's,
for, you want it?
yeah, it's sitting right in front of the garden. I don't know if you can picture that, just move it over.
What number? are you-
West.
The first
West, the first,
Right, but
In front of the.
oh, you're in the garbage?
yeah.
It's over by the fuel
by the
building.
fence.
It's simple, but aesthetically for the best to move that. There's not a recycling, do we not recycle?
We do, however, there's an issue that all it takes is one person to throw a piece of garbage in the recycling cart and it becomes completely all garbage. So that's why when you go to Jazz in the Park, you go to the Village Picnic, I do not put out recycling containers for that most part. Yesterday I did, or for the Jazz in the Park I did,
Right.
and nobody paid attention because there was garbage in there. So it turns into completely garbage.
But
So
at the village, we have a regular garbage and a recycling, it's right next to each other.
Right, but one piece of trash in a recycling turns it all.
I'm sorry, what was that in the, at the,
At the pavilion, under, by the pavilion,
yeah, I empty that every Monday. It's garbage on both sides.
Yeah.
I know it says recycling, but
and
they
I
don't do
use it
that.
for recycling. And
Yeah,
I know a lot of people, but like I said, all it takes is one person not to do it and it turns into garbage because they won't take it as recycling. It'll get denied. So you can have the best intentions to do it that way, but all it takes is one event, one lazy person, and it becomes garbage. So,
Okay,
but we can do it, but it will
Well-
end up being garbage.
you know,
well,
You know,
that defeats the purpose, I mean,
It does.
this
and then
is,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
well, this is where you've seen where it's for bottles and cans and they have just the top. And that's all you can put in
Right.
there. I mean, you can always shove something else in there, but for the most part, it's for bottles and cans. You can do that if you want to, just change the top.
I mean, people have taken the carts for recycling and cut a hole the size of a can or a bottle in the top for them to shove in, but they shove in paper plates and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't,
Yeah. I mean,
It's-
even your own recycling, if you don't rinse stuff out or. if
you just have no
put
control.
in the box, that ruins it
Well,
all.
I was, I'm
But we can still do
my
it.
husband's on right now, he's gonna be like, you don't
City
recycle, I don't
receipts?
recycle all the time, but,
City receipts finding you now if you put dirty garbage,
Yeah.
dirty in your receipt.
all right,
Or
let's move on. Do we own a power washer?
We do, if you're talking about the bathroom doors on the garage, I highly,
I'm talking 1, 2, 3.
yeah, we do own a power washer. I wouldn't do the bathrooms that are attached to the garage because you'll actually blast that material off the wall that's
This
on
is at
there.
top?
Yep, the one that's got all the cobwebs on it and stuff.
Okay.
We just take a broom and we go up there and we just grab all the stuff off of it with a very large broom or long broom. We used to do that. But there are other things you can power wash that are on your list. Just I
Okay,
wouldn't
well,
do
let's
that.
go with the above the bathroom doors because it's absolutely disgusting.
It is
Is it disgusting with spiders and spider webs?
Yeah.
every day.
Everyday.
It's an everyday thing.
Let me suggest to you a product, $20 in a can. It's called Miss Muffets. You have to Google it. I got it on Amazon.
Yeah.
It is a miracle drug. A miracle drug. It's $20. Miss Muffet Spider Death or something like that.
It's just
Spiders?
the big deal is because you're by the lake and the spiders and
They
the
love
bugs
it.
love the lake and stuff. So it's a major issue trying to keep up on the stuff right outside the door here,
Right.
the stuff above the bathroom. You know, you can change. You know, over by the park, it's the same thing. Every morning I come in and I literally go like this with my hand to take all the bugs off the counter because there's so many of them with the door closed. So it's an everyday thing. You can't keep up on it if Mr. Muffets
Last weeks.
if it fixes it and delays it, that'll work.
We bought
I
some
think
for
it
the
would be-
boat, one treatment a month ago. I still only have, it was covered with spiders and spider poop. And spider poop's really difficult to get off.
Well, I would think we could invest $20 to see if that will help.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. All right, so, to remove those bubblers and add the little water station, I know that it's an expense,
Yeah, we got the quotes for those.
and we are recommending that we add that to the CIP.
Okay.
It's up to them. Really what?
Well, there's $5,000-6,000, right?
I think it was more than that. That was
Plus
how much
install.
it cost for the actual device, but yeah, to install it and the plumbing involved in it and stuff like that. And you have to get them so they're
Winterized.
so they can be winterized, yeah, because we don't have that ability to do it with the plumbing that we have. So it was a little bit more costly, but it can be done. It's just
What
a
was the
huge
other
cost.
options that we had talked about?
Somebody suggested a shower faucet to be mounted in between the two doors to fill up a bubbler or to fill up a bottle. That would be hand activated, kind of like the one that's for the foot wash or dog bowl that's over by the garage door.
Yeah, and one hiccup on winterizing one of those.
I had to take it all apart. There's a lot of fine plumbing in there.
If there's one hiccup, it's $1,000 repair. By
Yeah,
the time you do the parts and labor and full disassembly.
yeah.
I
It's not just a matter of just opening a petcock valve and draining out at the bottom. It doesn't work that way. So not with these new ones. Everything's so condensed in a small little tight area for those fountains.
And we didn't want to do,
Coin operated faucet.
Dispenser, like to buy a water bottle.
Oh, a vending machine?
Yeah, that was the word,
I mean, we can.
you know. I mean, I go to the zoo and there's vending machines and.
We definitely can buy one.
Where would the vending machine go?
I don't know. Yes, they have electricity. That's all I know.
We could pipe something out of the garage, but I mean, you could definitely do that. But what I would suggest is buying your own and then filling it yourself,
Right.
and you get all the money and profit from it. Yes,
Right.
don't rent it or lease it.
What happens in the winter with those? Not very.
They're fine. I mean, it's water, so it'll probably freeze because they're not heated. But you know,
Well, I think
maybe you just take them out and not provide them in the middle of winter.
I think they are heated. Like a Coca-Cola machine that's
I think they're
outside.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They just turn off.
Do you have a thought on that?
I'm thinking zero
Way too quiet.
degrees.
Oh, no, I think we should be selling water. I've said that for ages.
All right, so I think we should look into.
So if we're gonna do the bottled water,
Mhm.
then can those fountains
Be
taken away
Yeah.
and just stuccoed over?
Yeah.
So we don't have the eyesore down
Yeah.
there? That would be great.
All right. I will look into, or do you want to look into?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
machine,
I will look at all the
view?
things on here.
We don't have to do about the CFP. You know, most of this is painting and power washing and trimming and that you just need. And we weren't sure like who's supposed to do it. How often? Do we come on a bad day?
Well, some of those, like I would take the one that you took a picture of the grass on that little patio block leading to the pickleball courts.
Yeah.
That was like right after our summer help did it. So it's
Okay.
not like that on a daily basis. That's because
No,
of
I
him.
know that.
So,
But
but
it
yeah,
can be cut out farther, yes?
I did that. I did that on Thursday. I edged it, so it's a lot wider. That's done.
Sorry, I didn't look at the list.
That's okay. You can put a done on it.
Okay,
It's done.
okay, okay.
The foghorn building for the museum, that I think you have to be very careful with that too. Or it'll cause more damage than good if you power wash or anything
Is a
out.
regular hose?
You can, but that stuff's pretty, those spiders do some pretty good webs. I mean, it's tough to get that stuff
So
off.
we
So
don't need one.
you gotta
can.
scrub.
We need a case.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
There's a lot of buildings down
Those
there, so.
away over.
Okay, I think we just need to try that.
I will, I'll look
Don't buy
into
a
it.
case right away, buy, you know, 1 or 2 cans and let's try with
They
the
come in,
napkins
it comes in
first.
a
Well,
jug.
right out here.
Oh, I know,
Yeah,
I mean, that's on the
sure.
list
Yeah.
as
With a
well,
little hose.
yeah.
So you
Maybe
take the
we just
hose
got
out of
one
the
of
jug,
those,
it's in
yeah.
the squirt, put the
Long
hose back.
Swiffer things.
All right.
Just gets
Right.
done.
Mr. Muppets.
Yeah.
Muffets.
Miss Muffet.
Miss Muffets.
Miss Muffets.
Mr.
You know, we'll miss Muffet sound.
Got it.
Two black walkway posts, I mean, just like, it's simple painting things that,
Those really need to be painted.
yeah. The 2 posts that lead to the path going down.
On either side of the sidewalk, for the parking lot, when there's the parking lot and you hit the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
there's 2, they're actually plastic, I don't think they're metal.
Oh, these
Right.
2 brown ones that are over here? Or
Black,
yeah,
black,
black, whatever.
Yeah.
Need to be painted,
The ones that also.
Yeah.
Someone did.
Right.
Yeah.
need to be
those.
painted black.
The
Because they
pla-
really,
plastic
that's,
Yeah, the plastic covers for the.
Yeah.
they really are.
So they either need to get painted or they need to get a new one over or
Were they
something.
not yellow or orange? Some weird orange.
They're
or-
black.
Yeah.
They're black.
Yeah, right now they're black and white because
Yes,
paint's chipping off of them and they look terrible. Is that a lighthouse or a DPW?
Well, my guess is that absolutely none of the stuff that's on this list is gonna be on their contract. So my assumption is gonna be pushed on us.
Okay.
But. I'm
So
just
we're
gonna be the
gonna-
devil's advocate here, but Joe used to paint things all the time here.
My question, okay, well,
I
my,
mean, he,
yeah,
you know,
that's fine.
painted, yeah.
my question about the
Buildings.
buildings and stuff though, because the buildings need to be painted via the historical society's recommendations, and we need to get approval from the National Historic Society to be able to do any maintenance on any building on the property. And Joe and Mary Ann did a lot of things without any approval. Which we had
I
kind of.
thought believe you were changing something.
Right, isn't that, yeah, I
Yeah.
looked into that, yeah.
Yeah, well, he worked at TAPS, so he
Right.
knew about that.
He knew all, he knew
So,
all of the, you know,
that's my
you know,
thing,
what you
though,
could
is
do,
like-
what you couldn't do.
Yeah.
So any maintenance has to be approved by them?
Yes. Technically, the National Historic Society is technically the tower, what we're doing with the tower needs to get approval from them.
Well, yes, absolutely.
So,
But that was done.
yeah, so
You know,
it's just
touch up on
anything
the
that you need to
buildings
get done is just, you have to get.
So
approval.
so we can't paint the trim here the same color that it is, you're saying, unless you talk to the historical society.
Just from what I've heard about, yes.
Would we go to Historical Society prison?
You just get a fine.
Okay, all right, let's
It
go
just, the
with that.
government just finds you
What's
what you
right?
want.
Then my question is, what are the chances of getting a fine? And look, we should look into how much the
Well,
fine
we
costs.
dealt with,
And maybe it would
we
be
dealt with a
worth it.
similar situation last year.
I have an answer.
I have that on my,
Yeah, okay.
Can I interrupt for a
Oh.
second? Question, how many deposits did you not refund because the renters of Yarder Hall? The answer from Marion was 1 time. Several times we wanted to keep the deposit, but we thought good reviews were worth more for future rentals. So that's
Yeah.
1 time officially, and I think they were here 8 years.
okay. Okay, thank you for that. I'm just gonna look to see now, knowing that DPW is responsible for most or a lot of this. Um, Oh, we would like. The task force is recommending to this committee that we purchase matching benches and get rid of those black broken
Broken ones.
wrought iron ones.
So you want the composite
And
ones?
And add that to the CIP.
So those benches that
I can look into that.
the village should be purchasing. Or that we're going to, I don't know, have a sale to put your name on it.
I already have a name on them, so you just be updating them
Okay.
to be more modern.
No, the black ones don't have.
The black.
Oh, you're done. I thought you were talking about the wood ones.
No.
No, these
Those
are
black ones, they have broken iron, broken,
No.
Not the ones that are falling.
that they are falling apart. And they look terrible.
So we could have a sale, a village sale of selling those benches for a piece of history. I'm
The
not
black
kidding.
ones?
Yeah, somebody will buy it.
They're broken.
Somebody will buy them. There's somebody out there who does ironwork and fix them.
They're cast. You
Yeah.
can't do anything with it.
Oh, well, I'm just saying.
Do you wanna buy one?
No, but you know what?
Wanna buy one?
That's the kind of stuff I put
No.
in my garden. I have a bench I have in my garden. Nobody sits in it. It's
I'll
just in my
donate
garden.
one. I'll donate it. Okay,
But anyways,
okay. Okay, all right. Three. Cracked basement window, broken screen, south side.
Yeah, I would suggest getting those. I know there's a maintenance thing to the lighthouse, but I
Yeah,
will
those
look
ones can
into
probably-
getting the glass block. So you don't have that issue anymore.
You know, the railing, I mean, that is a pathway. If this was, you know, in your backyard, nobody saw it.
Well,
I would-
Tommy brought up the issue because actually one of those or two of those windows actually leads to the so-called locked
Right.
evidence room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You can't see my air quotes.
Yeah, like I said, if it was a backyard of somebody's house, it wouldn't be so concerned. However, we do have events there, people walk by there all the time, and it looks like nobody's home,
Yeah.
like nobody cares. And that would be the railings, on the south side as well. That's number one, yeah, that, you know, the garden, maybe it was the day that we were down here.
Let's say we were doing. some
Gardens
cleanup
were
on the
weeded.
streets,
Well, that was that day, but since then I mulched all the beds. I mulched the bed behind the Foghorn building. We've weeded them all. I weeded the herb garden last week and
Here's gonna be
the
my big
flower bed over
recommendation.
there, but the weeds are, Cheryl can attest to this, but the weeds are god awful terrible this year. I can weed it and then a week later, I'll be right back here again.
There is a picnic table under the pavilion. And it's one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just isn't the same.
Is it the one that's over by the tree that,
No, under the pavilion. It matches, but it's different size.
oh, there are some long ones and then there's some square
There's
ones.
one, yeah, and then there's one that's long.
Oh, that's like extended long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if you could move that one to that ratty wooden one that sits under the tree right here.
Sure.
Throw it
Take that one
there.
away out of the tree and.
It's a that's not a good picnic
Okay.
table.
Usually.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Green wood
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
You buy any wood.
Or get
Composite. How much cheaper
Well, that's
than
why I
buying
meant
wood?
one. Well, we have one. We truly, we don't need all of those around there.
We do not.
So, yeah, so I was thinking.
They get
of-
moved outside of the pavilion all the time.
We
so.
were thinking the one that didn't quite match. I mean, it matches, but could be moved to replace that old one.
Good, because they're heavy and it'll be harder for them to move it around.
There you go.
That's the notice.
All right. Yeah, that's a painted thing. That's done already. And you just, oh yeah, so, oh, that's a village green. This building, oh, we have we have two recommendations. One, I think it would be good to get a quote from Brightview
Mm-hmm.
to get a quote on what they would charge to come in and do a spring cleanup and a fall cleanup. And maybe a mid cleanup.
Okay,
Of
so we gotta get
warehouse
3
grounds.
quotes, right? We can't just go get one.
Yeah, gotta get
I
more than
asked
one quote.
Brightview and they didn't get back to me, so.
What's the dollar limit?
Well, do an Aspen, do a Brightview.
Tell them what you want, get from 3 different vendors.
No, but you're obliged to do it at certain.
I think it's $5,000. I believe it is.
Oh, that's okay.
You know, I mean, when we were down here, we saw Scott pulling weeds. I was like, this is absurd
Yeah.
that we have our top person pulling weeds.
Well, if you want it done right.
I'll get a quote and have it done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, his time is.
I disagree.
Yeah, and then, go on,
That's okay.
and then we would know when it's being done, that it's being done.
And have
And
them come in one time too and just do a really good cleanup edging.
right,
I mean, our whole goal was to have a summer help come down here once or twice a week while they were here, but the applicants were very scarce. By the time the person started after they, got out of high school, it was mid-June. And then they're leaving in the first week of August. So that's like 6 weeks. It's not really a whole lot of time.
What do you pay those?
So,
17 something.
something like that, I thought, yeah,
17 or 18 something.
something like that.
I tell you what, for next summer, I'll recommend my little neighbor behind me.
No,
I'm telling you what, she did a great job on my yard.
this is huge, I mean, this is, yeah.
And Michelle did a
So
great
right
job.
now,
She
yeah.
was.
You know what?
Michelle did a great job. It's just she wasn't here that long.
Exactly. She could- But then we also talked about if we did that, if we had like breaking here, that did a major in the spring
Right,
and possibly midsummer and then the fall cleanup. But then I think that even the garden club or village residents, we talked about having a
leaf day or
a week,
day.
We
Wind
have to
Point
do it
Weeds
for a
Day.
beach cleanup.
Then they
Some
will,
weed
That's what we're
cleanup.
talking about.
they, exactly have,
Right.
people would be more amenable to coming
Many
in
hands make
because
light
it's not so daunting.
Right.
It's not,
Right.
come down at on or whatever, we could have certain days
Do a
that,
pizza,
Or we
right,
like
like
the
the
pizza
pizza.
or everybody
Try to
can
plan
buy
it
stuff to work.
like after a rainstorm when
You
know,
know,
we need to calm down.
Yeah.
So anyway, we just think your time is much too valuable to be pulling weeds. And I know you have summer people or a person to come and help you. But that doesn't have to be here either. I mean, it can be in between, but
Doesn't go.
we think, we'd like, when I say we, I wish Hannah was here too, but the three of us bring to you and Charlie the idea of getting quotes, to having somebody come in 3 times.
I'm not against it.
I agree. I mean, I thought sometimes it can get pretty carried away, and this is a pretty popular place down here. I don't want it to look like garbage, so
Right.
I would come down here and do it.
Okay, all
So
right,
while somebody else is doing something else.
okay. And then, the additional mulch, Mary Kay brought up, and you see that that's probably needed.
Yeah, I do it every year. Well, it's not like I've been here for 20 years, but I do it every year.
Right.
Usually we do it in the spring. It's on my list. It's on my whiteboard in the
I think
office,
that
but
spinner toy.
there's nothing I can do about that.
You know.
That and the swings, there's nothing I can do. I put it in and literally 2 weeks later it's gone because the kids swing and they kick it out and we're not over there re-leveling the ground, the mulch all the time. And you have to get specific mulch because it can't be just the mulch that we have over at John Sue.
Right,
Otherwise that would be in there,
right.
but we have to get special mulch that you have to buy. It's playground mulch.
Okay.
And, I was also told, I haven't experienced it until this year, but if we fill the playground area up too much, every time it rains, it washes out onto the sidewalk because it doesn't drain properly.
Right.
So I can only put so much in there without creating more work
Okay.
by us having to go out there every time it rains. And
And do you know how
Put it
much a
back in.
year we spend in mulch?
I'd have to look, but last year we got 7 loads. We have to drive over to I think it's Erickson's. He offers playground mulch. It's ground a certain way. I don't know the cost offhand.
Just curious, because it is something we do every year, would it be better to have the rubber?
Yeah, I looked into that. You gotta dig it all out, put it all in, and yeah, it would. If we're looking at it, like, would it last longer? Sure,
Longer, like 20
but
years, 30
yeah,
years.
but it's a lot of money.
Okay.
It's a lot. I can find out for you though, just to
Yeah,
just to have an
yeah.
idea.
And not the rubber, I mean the flat rubber.
Yep.
Okay, yep. Yep. Like prairie. I know. Yeah. And then there's that older picnic table that's under the tree.
The
right now.
donated one from a
Yes.
resident on 4 Mile Road.
That
Yeah,
one. We were thinking that could go in the middle of and it'll save you having to mow around it. That could kind of go in the middle of the littles playground. Because then a parent could actually sit there
that is true.
and be close to their kid.
That
Have
is,
something to put their purse and bag on.
yeah, that is not where we put it.
I know.
It moves around a lot.
Oh,
And so
we thought in the middle of the middle.
I can anchor it down to make it a little more challenging for the person to move or the people to move, but they tend to move it where they feel it's better for them, but we can do it.
Okay. And then the only other thing is this room. And I can tell you, pardon?
So you guys have to find a color you agree.
How can we paint anything without, did you get permission from
No,
the
we
Historic Society?
This we can paint the inside, you can't do anything else.
Oh, gotcha.
Mhm.
Well, like, I'm thinking ripping out this carpeting,
Oh, I thought of that too.
putting in a plank, vinyl plank, flooring. So then you don't have to, you have easy clean up and
Easy clean.
you don't have spills to worry about and all of that. And then, yeah, I'd like to see like every painting come down and like when you look on Zoom, like we're in here and we all look at each other, but when you're on a Zoom call and you're looking at this room, it's like, what is all over the walls? There's just some, it's like somebody just decided, oh, this is cute, blank, oh, this is cute, blank, it's not decorated well. And it's just, what are you laughing about?
The fact that it's not decorated well.
Well, it's not. It's like a mishmash of, and this is a place that's being rented out and you have little trinkets and paintings, just not you didn't do any of this. So, the lighting, just everything really this room needs a major update.
I can tell you, I have lights downstairs that need to get replaced up in here, the flat panel LEDs that are dimmable, color changing, or like color temperature changing, so I have those downstairs. We were just waiting for you guys to decide on what paint you guys like,
Okay.
and then we can
No,
figure that
not
out.
this shiny crap.
No,
No,
we're at next show.
no.
Well, I think you
Okay.
do, I think you would want something like a semi-gloss for fingerprints and you don't want a flat.
No, not a flat.
Yeah.
I
Want a little
paint,
gloss.
eggshell and satin in my
That's,
office.
I do it.
Yeah. Did you guys come with the okay, why don't we, for the next meeting, everybody come with a recommendation?
For colors.
Pardon me?
For colors.
Oh, don't even talk to me about colors. You should have seen the color I painted my bathroom. We just painted it another color because it's like,
Okay, and then
finally. I'm not the one
then
to
you're out
ask.
of the picture.
I am not the one to ask.
Okay, if anybody has a recommendation for colors, please bring it to the next or design, but okay.
Would you like
Oh, you know
something?
what? I'll bring the recommendation on what I ended up painting my bathroom. That is a great color.
Okay. Okay,
Would you like somebody to come down here as a professional decorator?
not yet,
For free?
not yet.
Again, for free?
Oh, for free, yeah, sorry, free, did I hear free? No.
Yeah, resident of the village,
Yeah.
artist, and really a pro decorator.
Never come to my
I'll
house.
talk.
Okay,
Have more artwork.
yeah, because I think, come on, look at this place, okay. Thank you for all your patience on that.
Is your,
Thank you, Scott.
to the CIP, you want to add a vending machine to the CIP and benches?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Nothing else? Okay.
Well, give us a decorating allowance for this room?
No, I'd be in the operating side.
You would ask for an increase in your budget.
Could, yeah,
Which we really should do.
right. Could you increase the operating?
We did last year, and it's not really been used this year.
I think, okay. I could vary that budget.
Yeah, 4 months to go, 5 months to go.
Okay,
I think we upped it to 5.
You're right.
5,000?
Well, yeah, because the last time we were talking about all the holes everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And how they need to be replaced
Okay.
or fixed and repaired, yeah.
Okay. All right. Jeff, are you still with us?
I think he's, oh, there he sits.
Learning about your personal artistic and decorative opinions on the lighthouse room.
You got anything?
Well, I always have ideas.
I've always liked that picture hanging behind you, the poster. Okay. You're up. Outdoor recreational plan, first draft working session.
Travis, could you turn on the sharing, please?
All right.
All right, to the most important thing, the expression swing ranges in price from $2,900 to $4,200.
Yeah.
There are a number
That's
of
the
examples
picture.
of companies.
I looked it up.
Ooh, wait, what are we talking about?
The picture that Mary Kay turned around, that's what it's called, an expression swing.
Out of angle.
Yeah. You get to stand behind it if something happens, so that little kid goes on it.
Put enough weld on it, it'll be okay.
We're supposed to have a person that is licensed to certify to check all that stuff every year.
Yeah, Scott probably noticed there are a lot of different alternatives out there, basically the same concept.
Yeah.
The ones I saw were just under 2,000, most expensive were on 6. But the
Yep.
that's what it looks like. It's the dominant player in the industry. So workshop, excuse me. Really, the goal for this is to identify what needs to be changed in this document before it's presented to the public at some point in the future, whether that be the near future, the midterm future, or far into the future. So what needs to be changed? Things that have to be removed because they're not, in the opinion of the Parks Committee, appropriate for the park and rec system in the village, or there are landmines within there that I'm not aware of and we need to get rid of that, or this whole thing explodes, that kind of stuff. In terms of what needs to be added, obviously that's more open-ended. What I did is I stuck closer to the primary recommendations from the previous plan, the primary results of the visual preference survey, and the feedback I've received over the course of our successive meetings from each of you. So you'll notice it's heavy on pedestrian and bicycle facilities and green space and more kind of natural landscaping, and lighter on, hard structures or capital investments. There are some exceptions in there, hopefully, something that is price compatible exceptions. But in terms of what we do now, it's entirely up to you. We can go through each chapter and have a discussion, or we can move forward to places that each of you want to focus our discussion on initially. It's really up to you. You're driving this bus. And everything's open for discussion, by the way, the appearance of the document, the color, the font.
Can I just add a correction just real quick on page 3 for the historical benchmarks? For 1880, the West Point Lighthouse was built, the cost was 100,000, it was 10,000. So that just needs a 0 removed.
Yeah, those are the kind of things we want to correct. So feel free to make marks on your copies. If you could get all your comments to Travis, Travis will get them to me. I'll make the recommended changes. I thought I copied that from the village website though.
Cost us $10.
Um. So what's the best way we wanna,
Yeah, there's no best. Arguably, it's more efficient to just scroll through, stopping where people have comments and then stopping where there are areas where I want to, kind of target the discussion. But if you have an alternative, I'm open to anything.
I think that's a great way to do it.
All right, well, let's do that then. So ignore the table of contents. That's a placeholder just there for formatting and to kind of get the layout of my page numbering. So it really begins with the introduction. Introductions to outdoor recreation plans tend to be relatively cursory, focusing on the high points, the key features. Certainly when you're talking about Wind Point, we're talking about the lighthouse, Prairie School, Johnson Johnson, and Wingspread. So anything else that you have that you want to be featured in here, by all means, let's put it in. If this feels like it's too much, let's take it out. The historical benchmarks from the village's website, I thought, that's a decent little Cliff's Notes of 1860 until today. So unless you feel strongly about it, I like that there. Just gives a little bit of a snapshot of the community that you wouldn't otherwise get. And then a brief blurb on outdoor recreation plans. Any thoughts on that so far?
All good?
I have a question on page 38. It says,
38?
We're not,
or, well, of the packet, page 7 of the plan. Aren't we on?
we're not on that one.
We're on page 4.
Oh, okay, I'm ahead. Okay, sorry, I'm reading ahead. Yeah.
So we move on to the next. On to page 7, planning context. What was your question, President McCulloch?
Just looked like there was a word missing. In the paragraph, on the outdoor plan was developed following a public participation effort comprised of an outdoor recreation survey and kick meeting. It should be a kickoff meeting.
I tell you what, if you don't mind, just to make this a more
Right.
expedited meeting, highlight all the typos, all the spelling errors, all the spacing and formatting. Just circle it and give those to Travis, and I will take care of those all at one time. But yes, that's supposed to be kickoff meeting.
You can continue.
Just making a quick note for myself. So again, we've summarized some of the past efforts, including the project that Mr. Heller was describing earlier. Summary of the past survey, summary of the comp plan from 2035. Again, this is just context, right? So an outdoor recreation plan does not exist on an island or a peninsula, as it were, but it exists within a framework of community planning that includes land use planning, outdoor recreation, transportation, all that kind of stuff. So just Cliff's Notes summaries. If there's anything that I missed in here, plans that have occurred subsequent to the 2018 project that I haven't been made aware of, let's get those in here. Generally, we're looking for a paragraph, maybe a paragraph and a half. If you have digital images that look good, maps and drawings and stuff like that, definitely want those. Want those in as well. Apologies, I was on vacation, as some of you may know, in the Rockies, where it was 90 degrees pretty much every day, which was a bit unfortunate. And I came back with a messed up throat, so hasn't cleared up yet. So that's the context information, or that's the context section. Any comments on that? Again, most of this stuff is, I wouldn't call it boilerplate. It's a little bit less rigid than that, but it's the typical things you'll find in the opening elements or opening chapters of an outdoor recreation plan. So then we jump into community engagement. This is where it gets a little bit more fun. So we have the visual preference survey, brief description of what a visual preference survey is, how it works. I put the 20 highest rated visual preference images in here. You probably noticed all of the images are in the appendix. So all 60 images with each of their respective ratings are there. And as we've discussed already, it's heavy on trails, it's heavy on nature, and it's relatively light on infrastructure or structures. which is, good or neither good nor bad, but it's definitely less expensive. So the moment you start talking about structure, the price goes up. Most of these things are things that can occur on the existing landscape with, in some cases, relatively little or no upgrades, signage, maintenance, that kind of stuff. All the things that are in Scott's wheelhouse. Still have discussions, I suppose, needed regarding whether or not paddling from Wind Point is a good idea. The composite VPS ratings are essentially taking all those images. You recall we had discussions about, well, what am I rating? There's a picture of a dog being walked with someone in a wheelchair with lots of open space and a trail and a light bulb. I mean, what part of that am I rating? And the answer to that question is yes, whatever part you chose to rate. But what I did is I looked at all the different images and grouped them by various categories. So you'll see that some images occur in different places. But for the most part, paths and trails, nature and water, way up there, right? Anything with dogs in it was kind of high up too, but there were only 3 images that actually included dogs. 2 that included dogs, if I remember correctly, and 1 that was the dog park sign. The cutoff is generally around here, and what I mean by that is 3 is, don't have strong opinions in favor of or opposition to. Anything below 3, now you're getting where there were more negatives associated with than positives. Now, that doesn't mean that you avoid any of this stuff. It does mean if these are low-hanging fruit that can be achieved with little cost and little kind of public approval required, feel free to pursue them. A good example would be food trucks. Food trucks require nothing more than a permit under the zoning ordinance to operate in the Village of Wind Point. The village would identify locations where they can operate, when they can operate. Most mobile food establishments, I take that back, all mobile food establishments are regulated by the state. There's all kinds of health requirements and hand washing stations and all kinds of things that are required. So some of these things are just a matter of saying, yes, we would like to have a food truck in the parking lot at the lighthouse, Fridays and Saturdays or something. The rest of it are the things to come. So the first working session, that's now. The first draft presentation will be whenever. One of the exercises or one of the elements of that first draft presentation will be this revisioning exercise that we originally intended for the engagement session. And again, it's just the questions we're asking participants to look at all of those questions all of those visions that resulted from the previous outdoor recreation project, and then prioritize them with a checkpoint. So we can do this online as well. So it'll occur at the meeting, people doing hard copies, and then after the meeting, we can make it available online so people can complete it, submit it, similar to what we did with the BPS, and those results will guide revisions to the first draft. Good so far?
Yep.
For that date for the next one, we are fine with the October 7th Parks meeting. So that will be the next date.
Right. The only reason that it wouldn't be on October 7th is if the amount of effort to turn this rough first draft into a presentable first draft is that problematic.
Okay.
How many people attended, if you know, back in 2018?
I heard the attended and then it broke up a little bit. I heard paper crackling or something.
How many people attended in our session?
Oh, the engagement session?
No. In 2018, I'm wondering.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember offhand. It was 50 plus, but let me
Okay, that's all right.
I was gonna say 60 because
Okay.
I was there.
Okay.
It was a good turnout.
All right, good.
So the next section is goals and objectives, and this is incredibly subjective, meaning it needs to be what you as a committee want to bring forward to the community and eventually the plan commission and village board. So these are starting points for discussion. Again, they're based significantly on the goals and objectives from the previous plan. My assumption is the world hasn't changed in such a way as to negate the bulk of the previous plan. So I didn't want to veer too far away from those goals and objectives. I tried to make them a little bit more narrowly focused, so that they weren't just kind of, I don't know, visionary dreams, but actual specific things that we need to focus on. So for instance, increasing accessibility means ensuring that people that have mobility challenges, intellectual challenges, or any other challenges have access to various parks and recreation facilities, whether it be the lighthouse in general, the grounds, bicycle and pedestrian paths, that sort of stuff. So look that over. As always, please do the highlighter and the red pen. Highlight things that you like and you want more of, red pen things that you don't like and you want removed.
And this is 17 and 18. What is this table 3?
Sorry, I'm
What page are you?
Page 17 and 18.
so page 17 is that is the revisioning exercise. Or that will be. It's nothing right now. It's a placeholder for the results of the revisioning exercise that'll be held at the first draft presentation.
But I'm seeing a lot of verbiage.
Is that from the 2018 revisioning?
Correct. All of these are the visions resulting from the visioning session at the engagement session in 2018. Just put in alphabetical order. So
Okay, that's where I'm confused. Okay.
So please look over the goals, objectives, and again, highlight anything that you're not comfortable with, you want change, you want removed. If there's something that's missing, definitely need to get it in there. So community profile is just a brief description of the community. Generally, it focuses on the key demographic things and then on the landscape. The landscape element is taken almost verbatim, if not verbatim, from the 2018 document. You know, we haven't had a glacier in the last few years, so I'm assuming that the landscape of the community has not changed significantly. In terms of population, you know, here are the two images that we had at the engagement session. The community experienced relatively significant growth over 30 years from, over 20 years from 1970 to 1990, and has been in a gradual state of decline since. There are a lot of reasons for that. Most of them are speculative, but I would say relatively confident that it's associated with the fact that the village cannot grow outward, right? It doesn't have a footprint. It's not surrounded by towns that you can annex land in for growth. The nature of the development in the village is not one that would allow growing upward. So it's unlikely you're going to see multi-story apartment complexes or multi-story multifamily dwellings in the future. The income and median housing values are high, very high compared to the state of Wisconsin, which means it's unlikely or it's less likely for starter families, starter homes to grow. So you're not going to have expansions in those areas. If development is to occur, if population growth is to occur, it would happen through infill replacement, meaning someone would buy existing homes, raise them, and replace them with more homes. But given the limited types of housing options available under the zoning ordinance, that reduces that as well. So essentially, unless there are significant changes that I suspect would not be desirable to the zoning ordinance, the direction of the community, the types of housing types that would be welcomed, the long-term population dimensions of the community will continue this trend. It will continue to decline till it reaches a point of stability. That stability is arguably not going to fall below 1,000, but it'll probably be somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 long term. And
I
again,
understand why we wouldn't raise up because we have nowhere to go. But why would it decline that so much?
Aging demographic.
Mainly it's housing value.
You still,
I mean, so with the value of housing, the median housing value in the village eliminates significant percentages of the population from finding Wind Point to be a viable location for development. And when houses are removed in Wind Point, they tend to be removed and replaced with houses that are considerably more expensive than the one that was lost. More affluent households tend to have fewer children, which again reduces the population. Communities that are essentially built out, the brain drain issue is significant. So there'll be generations that are lost because there aren't options for those generations to stay within the community. I mean, this is not as simple. It's this, and this. It's multiple factors, but the main factor is the village has no ability to grow outward. That is generally how villages and cities in Wisconsin grow to encourage or accommodate additional residential development. It's just not an option in this community. You know, there are some places where future development can occur, but not at a scale that would kind of offset this long-term trend. So we talked about the population series by age group. Again, not uncommon in Wisconsin. Development is skewing towards the right side of the continuum. Wisconsin, like most states, are aging states. The United States as a country is an aging country. We're not as far along as places like Japan and Europe, but we're not that far behind. Fewer children per household, fewer people per household. People waiting longer to have children if they have children at all. All these things factor into it. Generally, the more affluent a community is, the more affluent a country is, the lower its population growth is. The lower or less affluent a company or country is, the higher rate of population growth. It's exceedingly bordering on impossible to reverse that trend. Countries around the world have been trying for years and years and years. Really, the only way to increase the population in a meaningful way is through immigration. It's not through population growth within the host population. The map or the table from the previous plan is still here. It's important because it gives you an idea of the kinds of outdoor recreation facilities that are desired by the various generation groups. So again, this is all information and context. Nothing's a recommendation yet. It's really background helping when we get to the point of looking at recommendations to choose which ones should be priority areas for focus, which ones should be back burner until the time and financial situation is right, and which ones should be removed because they're just not appropriate for the village. I'm going to pass through all the physiography, topography, and landscape stuff because again, that hasn't changed. If there are typos in there, or if there's information that you're aware of that you want included, if you feel any of this is too lengthy and it's not necessary, we can certainly get rid of it. So I'm scrolling to page 29 now, and we're getting into the inventory of parks and recreation facilities. This is where I really need assistance from all of you and from staff. There are undoubtedly things that have popped up since 2018 that I'm not aware of, whether it be additional trails. Travis and I are working with the mapping consultant I use. So I've learned that there are trails where there weren't trails before. There are trails that were proposed in the previous plan that are not desired or required anymore. So again, any information you can provide would be very helpful here. The images that I have throughout here are images that I've basically culled from the internet. If there are better images, more effective, more attractive images that you're aware of, please don't hesitate to provide them to Travis and we can incorporate those into the plan. Please stop me if I'm going too quick. I'm just moving through it at what seems like a leisurely pace. If you want me to back up, let me know. Scott, are you still there?
I am.
Is there anything from an infrastructure standpoint that I missed? Not so much trails, but I don't know, any other additions to either Village Green or the lighthouse grounds that need to be included in here?
No, nothing's really changed in, 8 years or 7 years.
All right, thanks.
Although the Memorial Garden looks a lot nicer there.
Yeah.
Funny how that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the nearby trucks, parks and facilities, just things that are within a driving distance, a comfortable driving distance from Wind Point. So the S Corp, 2025, 2030 S Corp, we hit some of this stuff during the visioning, during the engagement session. This is the state's outdoor recreation plan. As we've discussed, the state has to do these once every 5 years as well, to maintain eligibility for a variety of different funding sources from the federal government. We have the main 10 strategies here under the current S Corp. The closer that a municipality can adhere to or conform with these requirements, the greater the probability of receiving funding through various programs. As we've discussed in the past, I think Travis brought it up at a previous meeting. One of the challenges we have in Wind Point is the median household income is at such a level that granting agencies are going to look at it and think, well, they don't need the money as much as somebody else needs the money. So there are ways of getting around that or offsetting that. You just have to come up with very clever, really very creative applications. Certainly doable. Again, most of this stuff is just general descriptions of the Lower Lake Michigan coastal region, essentially Racine County, Kenosha County, Milwaukee, Washington. We talked about all of these during the during the kickoff session, engagement session. Outdoor recreation standards. There are differing standards that exist out there. None of them are great. All of them have a helpful element to them. The one that is the most popular, is National Recreation Parks Association guidelines. But they have fundamental problems as well. They generally treat every community that's has 20,000 people as the same. And we know that there are differences between communities far beyond what their population is. So when you see recommendations of 6.25 to 10.5 acres of parkland per 1,000 persons, it gives you a framework to evaluate where you are, but it's not something that I would recommend you look at and say, wow, we're only at 4, we need to increase to 7. The number is area specific, right? And you know better how many acres of parks the community needs than NRPA does. But again, it's important information because it does classify different kinds of parks, and it gives you, again, a point of comparison for Wind Point. Demand-based needs and resource-based needs, these are things to keep in mind, particularly in a community like Wind Point, where you have a very built-out community. Both demand-based needs and resource-based needs have to recognize the context of the community. There's not a lot of open space within which additional parks and recreation facilities can be developed. And there's not the ability to grow the footprint outward. So it's more prioritizing or triaging the types of visions and values that are desired by the community and identifying appropriate locations for them. And this is the big one right here, the culture of the community. So most communities need bicycle trails and pedestrian trails. Most communities want more nature. Most communities want, places for children to hang out and have a safe, kind of rewarding landscape. But every community is different. In this community, Wind Point, your priorities are going to shift a little bit more towards that right side of the age continuum, with facilities that are more oriented towards adults, seniors, and not at the expense of, but again, more of a priority over young families, because there really aren't a lot of them in the community. Going back to that, forgive me, I'm going to scroll back momentarily. that table. So it's somewhere around the neighborhoods of 273 residents from age 5 to 19, 2020, compared to the population of, was it 1,710. So again, if these columns to the left would be higher, you'd see a differing set of recommendations within the recommendation section. You know, new park facilities, new amenities at existing parks. But given the population, given the limited number of parks that are available, you're really looking at value added kinds of things. And that could be through some of those transitory accessory structures I mentioned later on in the report. Are we still going at an okay pace so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so in terms of recommendations, this is the heart and soul of the document, right? These are the things that the community wants and the community is going to strive for. Again, when time, funding, and need presents itself. So the first ones are policy-based recommendations. These tend to apply to all facilities. Certainly ADA requirements is very, very high up on the list. As we've discussed in the past, if you have any hope of securing any grants whatsoever, ADA compliance is going to be absolutely at the top. A demonstration that you've upgraded different facilities to bring those into compliance with ADA requirements. The fact that existing plans for future development show ADA compatibility, and then the desire to retrofit existing facilities to meet ADA requirements. So that's going to have to be, that'll be at near the top of most grant applications, whether they be state or federal. Providing access to everybody who wants to use the parks. In other words, not creating systems that limit individual groups from use. Incorporating green space and alternative energy systems wherever possible. Planting lots of trees. Trees and trees and trees whenever you can plant them. General park recommendations, ensure all parks are welcoming and safe. You know, restrooms and drinking facilities. I understand the discussion earlier about water bottles. You might want to look into that to determine, to ensure that that's the appropriate financial change, because they do tend to get problematic from a waste standpoint. But again, it's probably less expensive than maintaining bubblers, water fountains. Excuse me, water fountains. Looking at ways to use existing parks to the best of your ability, whether it be hopefully not privatizing them in the traditional sense, but allowing local yoga instructors to maybe rent space and hold a class on Wednesday nights or things like that. Any thoughts on these lists or this list so far? In terms of outdoor recreation, additions and enhancements for Village Green, additional trash benches, picnic tables, trash receptacles along the path. Seasonal transitory amenities, whether it was modular splash pad or lawn games, or anything that can be brought out for special events. Now, these are not things typically that would be rentable by or usable by people who are just going to the park. Hey, can we borrow the bocce ball set or something? This would be associated with community events in the parks. Same basic requirements or same basic recommendations for the lighthouse. And then the one question I have is, again, going back to the relationship between the shoreline and the water. All of you know this better than I, but is there a desire for access to the lakefront in a barrier-free way? In other words, where anybody could walk down to the lakefront, anybody could use the lakefront, or is the general vibe within the community that is too high of risk?
Oh, it's a risk. It's a high risk, but it's also something that you hear from residents all the time, that you want to be able to access the lake.
Yeah, I'm speaking just from, someone with this much familiarity with the community. It is, I hope there's no, I hope there's not too much negative associated with this. It is curious that there isn't some ability to easily get down to the water line. Now,
There was.
Yeah.
But the high lake levels from about 8 years ago, 6 years ago, took care of that.
right, same, and I work in Door County as well. One of my former clients spent, oh boy, 1.2, $1.3 million on this tool that they could use to enhance dredging of their bay. And the moment they had it 1 year, and the next year the water levels went up, and they sold it after about 6 or 7 years. As you all probably know, the water in Lake Michigan is going down again, and now they're looking to get another one of these things. So yeah, it is difficult when you have that kind of motion, but you can create an accessible lakefront that can accommodate those kinds of changes, as long as it's not heavy infrastructure, or if the infrastructure itself is something that can be removed seasonally, or when the situation changes. But that is, from the standpoint of an outsider looking at the community from above, that is that it's not a glaring weakness, glaring omission perhaps is the best word. But again, the details regarding that better than I. If there is some means of providing access down there, I think that would be lovely. If it can't be done because of cost or safety issues, so be it.
I think the people that really want to go launch there manage to launch there, but it's not for the weak.
Right.
Yeah, so we have the surfers and kayakers that come in to roll with it, to ride the waves, but it can be quite treacherous.
Yeah, so the existing system self-selects, right? It self-selects for the people who are willing to put in the effort to achieve the benefit.
Yeah, it could turn out to be natural selection. So
More effort than it's needed. Right. Trying to go over the riprap.
So something to discuss. Or if that discussion has already been held and determined, then we can get rid of it. So I'll just make a note of that for further discussion. And that's really it. It's that one page. Again, focusing on these two places, and then really implementing the proposed on-street bike lanes from the outdoor recreation plan map. Unless there's something I'm not aware of, and I'm certain there probably is, this is a much more targeted outdoor recreation plan than the more broadly focused one we did in 2018. The next section is the funding category. It just identifies some of the various funding options available, the priorities. In most cases, the biggest chunk of funding is the general fund, whether it's 100% or cost shared or a match, whatever the case may be. The majority of your funding will come through there. Park and impact fees are an option, but you just don't have enough new residential development to support or to adequately fund a park and rec impact fee. So that is something that needs to be mentioned, but probably not as viable in Wind Point as it would be perhaps to communities farther to the west. User fees are an option, but not an option I would recommend strongly. Depends upon the facility. So user fees to access the lighthouse, of course, but user fees to access what most people would view as a community right, you tend to want to stay away from those. And again, given the layout, are there fees associated with the tennis and pickleball courts?
Reserve, yes.
To reserve them, but
Yes.
otherwise, if anybody can,
And only your village residents can reserve.
sorry, say that again.
Only village residents can reserve a court.
Got it. So anybody can play there, but if there's a reservation, then the reservation takes over?
Correct.
Okay. And then there are a whole bunch of grant programs. Knowles Nelson in the past has been the key one. There's some question as to whether that's going to stay viable in the long term, or in the short term for that matter. Recreation Trails and Land and Water Conservation Fund, those are primarily supported by the federal government, Department of Interior, and there are significant questions whether any of that will be available in the future. And I don't mean that hyperbolically. They're talking about cutting all of the funding for some of those programs. If that happens, then makes it a little bit more difficult to pursue alternatives.
I have a question.
Yes.
For state and federal grants, I know nothing about. Do those come out? Are those a blanket grant, or do those come out for certain projects? Blanket?
Certain requirements that are part of characteristics that are part of it for you to apply for them that you have to have in order, and your project has to have is to get those type of grants.
So how do you know? So you kind of decide that you want to do a project and then you go and look for a grant, or do you look at grants that are being offered and go, oh, we could?
Yes, the latter.
The latter. And who do we have that's doing that or knows? You are just wearing so many freaking hats.
Well, honestly, it's a time thing. You gotta, the videos, the webinars for them, just to listen to them, the DOT and everybody talk about what's required and what you have to do. And the application process is ridiculous. So
there's people that just have one person that does this.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, Scott's right on. I mean, it depends upon the grant. So generally, the DNR-based grants are easier to apply for and not as onerous to manage. The DOT stuff is complicated, and the reporting requirements are significant in general. So when you're looking at things like the TAP program, which is the key program available for pedestrian and bicycle trails, it's not the worst ever, but it is, I mean, certainly not as bad as something like a community development block grant. But it is challenging, and there are specific dates that have to be met. If you fail to meet 2 of those dates over the term, they can request all the funding back, including funding that's already been spent. So generally, when it comes to administering something like a TAP program, if you don't have the expertise on staff, you'd want to hire someone absolutely demonstrably expert in that grant. When it comes to DNR stuff, it's a little bit, I should say a little bit, it's quite a bit easier. So things like Recreational Trails Program, Knowles Nelson, they all have benchmarks over the tenure of the grant where you have to check in. But again, they're not quite as rigid as DOT.
But they're match grants, though, most of them.
That's correct. Now, with very few exceptions, it's a match, whether it's a 50-50, sometimes it's 20-80. The match can be.
You gotta pony up the money in order to get money, which involves a lot of money to get the money, which we don't have a lot of. So, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, these are the programs that are out there. The easy grants to get, and there are some, coastal management grant is usually a relatively easy one to get. Can be up to $1,000 for stuff, but still
I'm dealing with them right now. They want their money back.
Yeah, I've had some experience with that as well. Easy to get doesn't mean it's easy to keep and easy to expend. But that's why I said, in the end, the best means of financing parks and recreation facilities to do so through the general fund or donations from private businesses, naming rights and things like that.
We have a lot of those in one point. Makes it harder. It does.
And that's it. Then we get into the appendix. The tail end of the appendix will include some of the results of the revisioning exercise, but I'm scrolling back to the recommendations now. This is really it. I mean, this entire outdoor recreation plan exists to support Table 8. So the big question, of course, is what's missing? What needs to be on this list that isn't? Obviously, it doesn't have to be answered right now. It does have to be answered soon if we want to meet the October 7th deadline, though.
Right.
So will the committee be meeting again before October 7th?
Yes,
Okay.
but just before
Yeah.
October seventh.
Couple days.
Oh, okay. Well, so in that
No,
case,
that'll be the next Parks meeting, October 7th. So
Oh,
you'd
it
have
is?
to, we'd have to schedule something in September.
well, that's the question. Do you as a Parks Committee want time to meet just you to go over this document and prepare your recommended changes, your list of recommended changes, get it to Travis and get it to me at least a week,
Yeah.
hopefully 2 weeks prior to the 7th.
Well, maybe everybody could go through, look at, the tables, what needs to stay in, what your recommendation to stay out, any spelling things, send all that to Travis, and then is this gonna be?
Well, the only issue with that, Trustee John, Madam Chair, sorry, make sure it's appropriate title for the appropriate committee. The only problem with that is I'll be put in a position where I have to decide whether to include the recommendation of one individual, not the recommendation of the committee as a whole. So someone may say, you really need to get rid of this native landscaping stuff. And somebody else will say, you really need more native landscaping stuff.
Right.
So it does have to, the recommendations have to come from the committee, not from individual members. And that essentially means two options. We do that tonight. We stay here until you say, this is the one, let's do it. Or you meet again at some point between now and say the third week of September, and then get those recommendations to Travis and then to me.
I can meet again,
I'm
thinking
to meet again, and then we can, on our own, really go through,
so just,
and let's pick a date then.
I'll just,
But I do, Trustee Johnson, I do like your comment. If each of you individually could take this home and go at it with a highlighter and a red pen, just to kind of frame the discussion when you get back together. And at some point, you'll probably have to do a couple votes to say, are we keeping this or are we getting rid of it? But in the end, that'll be the document that I will prepare for the first draft presentation. And we'll stress again, it's still a first draft. So when we're meeting on the 7th, let everybody know that this is a draft. It's not a recommendation yet. It's not a final document by all means. Your input is still required, including this revisioning exercise, which will hopefully add some value to the existing recommendations.
All right, and then how much time do you need before October 7th?
The more the better. Certainly need a week. So the absolute latest would be a week. If you can give me more than that, that'd be great.
Okay, you guys. Hey. You're the one that works.
you know what?
You don't have your schedule yet.
No, I'm working weekends, so I'm pretty flexible right now during the week. Well, I wanted to go to Rome, so that's what I had to do.
Italy or Adams County?
Pardon me?
You said you wanted to go to Rome?
Yeah.
I said
So-
Italy or Adams County.
Would
The latter one's another one of my clients, town of Rome.
be Italy.
Italia.
But,
All right,
I mean, I'm trying to move my trip on the 20th to during the week because I want to go to the 4-H pancake breakfast.
okay. So we can either look at the week
Do like the week of the 15th.
I'm gone. Well,
Okay.
I was just gonna say, we can either look at the 8th to the 12th week or the 24th.
8th to the 12th is next week.
Still be fresh in your mind.
True.
And I'll be here.
Nothing's fresh enough.
Or we can, I'm gone until.
What do you leave?
Week of the 22nd.
I leave the 14th.
Or you could do it before the village board meeting on the 11th.
Well, I got to be here on the 22nd for a meeting, so why don't we do it then?
I'm not home.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like this vacation.
Travis?
Yeah.
We're still set for 3 o'clock on the 7th?
23rd,
if you're fine with that, I'm,
I'm fine with anything. I just want to make sure 3 o'clock is, I mean, obviously it's going to limit working.
you're talking about Thursday?
23rd. Alan,
What we sent about the.
24th?
But I have a hold on
Us
this or
about
something, so.
code violations and stuff
24th?
that they're
You have your
gonna
calendar out, Missy?
I do.
present.
Oh,
When is it your?
the 27th? I thought you said this.
Like, it was like October 7th, like.
Oh,
was
the
it
29th. It was the
29th,
29th.
that's what it
I
was,
think
yeah.
you certainly
Oh, okay.
have an
The
opinion.
29th.
Like 4 o'clock or
I
something.
value.
Yeah.
I see it so complex. I barely have an opinion. I mean.
Now.
Yeah, the 23rd is fine, as long as it's sometime during the day. Do we have to be there for the conversations with the village staff?
I will say yes.
So 1
For some
o'clock
reason, I
then.
can't be here.
Yeah.
The most important
It'd be
thing is
nice,
that
but-
all of you
Huh?
are on this.
What?
I have a hold on
October
that.
20th.
Oh, yeah,
23rd.
that's happening. Yeah.
No, I know, but so should I plan on being here?
That's a Tuesday.
It'd be nice.
Okay.
Okay, so can we do it at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 23rd? We've got that, finance, that conversations in the afternoon.
Okay, 10 o'clock on the 23rd. Work for you, Charlie?
Yes.
Okay.
Here.
At the village office.
Village office.
Village office?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody else. So we'll be ready to discuss, the tables and anything else. However, any spelling correction should be sent to Travis. So you can send those over.
But those really at your convenience. I mean, obviously typos, spelling errors, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but we don't need to do that.
Correct.
Okay. Right?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. Referrals? Is there any?
Can't remember what. At the beginning of the
Just
meeting.
the deposit that Eric's working on the
Oh, yeah.
amendments to the contract.
All right. You're working on the other one too, right?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. Back 12. Thanks for your.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Deb.
Can't we get a